Thank you for coming to this page, and thank you for supporting the page. I hope that you are keeping strong. I hope that you are staying mentally strong in a capitalistic world that is so unstable and is so um, always given in uncertainties. Okay, even when we have work, we still have to be mindful that others do not have work, that we could lose our jobs, that our jobs are dependent on a demand in their environment. What is happening in the environment that is keeping me as an employee? So even when you have work, you still have to know the inner workings of capitalism. You have to know that it does not give you a sturdy, comfortable life per se. It just says in this moment you have this, and you need to be grateful for this. According to the gurus, be grateful for what you have now because you may not have it tomorrow or the day after. Well, that's how capitalism works. It doesn't guarantee that you will have all of your needs on hand in every phase of your life. It just tells you you have to compete. There's a probability that you will get a job. There's a probability that you'll get a home, but it's not a guaranteed. But in our personal lives, as we are growing as human beings, we need resources to at every phase of our lives. We need food, we need shelter. I was driving past, in my neighborhood, and I saw an older gentleman who was homeless, and I mean, he was just covered in filth, like it was just dirt. And in my mind, like this could be anybody's life. Um, you know, I don't know the story of this gentleman, but when I looked at him, I thought about the other homeless people I see around me. What was their story? Um, what happened? And then the current state of that homeless person. They have no access to a bathroom so that they can clean themselves off. They have no access to food. They have to rely on someone's kindness, and God knows. It all depends on who wants to be kind in a given day to help people like that. People like that need our hands, because a system like capitalism and the venture capitalists will not care that this person is an older person. It's hard for them to buckle up their shoelaces and get a job and a home and all that, versus a younger person like me. I may be able to bounce back, but the person that I saw was much older. And in that situation, that person needs someone like me who was looking at him and to help out, because it's just we cannot expect someone in that age bracket to just exit poverty next tomorrow or the day after. It just doesn't happen in realistic definition. That person is going to need an angel, and we are each other's angels. We are the ones who see things. We understand how people end up in situations like that, and we have to do our part to help out. I'm almost done with my book, Social Responsibility. I am redefining the terminology, because so many times we think that social responsibility is about businesses, being socially responsible. But what about us? What about we as the general population of workers and consumers? We have to be socially responsible too. The accountability also falls on our shoulders to not just rely on a business to write a social responsibility plan, but we too have to walk this earth in undoing socially responsible things. So that's the book that I'm currently writing. I'm currently editing the book, so I'm hoping to be done by June. It's a short and sweet book. So I should be done by June. But today I haven't been on in a while because I've been writing and I kind of just, need that space to do that. So today I just want to talk about this article that I came across. And it's a relatively old article. It was written in 2014 and it's on this website called liberationschool.org. Liberationschool.org. And it talks about how socialism is better than capitalism and gives 6 reasons for these. We always have to look at dynamics. We always have to look at capitalism and what its alternatives are, which are socialism and communism. And we can't be biased in how we analyze those isms. We have to just look at them because they're systemic. They are in our society already. Excuse me. They're there already. Some of us just look at it in an ignorant way. And it shouldn't be that. We need to look at what is around us in objective ways so that we can understand the world that we're in. So the 6th reason, according to liberationschool.org, for why socialism is better than capitalism. Number one, socialism eliminates competition. So we all know that to simply get a job, it means you have to join a line of many applicants, or you have to, every time your resume is submitted, your application is submitted, you are joining a list of people who are applying for the same job. Okay. Then if you're hired, then you go and you compete with your coworkers who are already there. So it's always competition. You always have to be in a competition mode because in a capitalistic world, somebody has to become the leader. Somebody has to come off as the better than the rest person, and that's how capitalism works. It's always been working like that. And some people will do whatever it takes to get to that top level, even if it means backstabbing their coworkers or whatever is it that we do in the workplace, and we all know what we do. So it's constant competition. It does not stop at all. Number two is no more recessions and depressions. So in capitalism, we are currently, and a lot of economists and a lot of people have predicted that we are in a recession now. It's just not been said like that in mainstream media, for example. But yeah, in capitalism, there's always that uncertainty that leads to the economy, falling apart, or things getting so bad that it falls apart. And of course, the working class person, suffers the most because the principles of economics are being dictated and governed by a few people, for us, for the working class. And sometimes they don't always think of the working class person. They care about what the principles are, and they continue to operate strictly from the rules of that, irrespective of the general population of the world. What is it that at a certain point, what does the world need? Like, can we bend the rules so that it meets the average person? Can we not make things so technical where the average person cannot, reach prosperity levels? Okay. Number three is scientific advancement belongs to all of society. Again, this is from liberationschool.org, and the point is that socialism eliminates intellectual property, whereas capitalism supports it. And of course, we know monopolizing ideas. Every time someone comes up with, an idea, they have the opportunity to put a patent on it, and they get to decide what the price is. Sometimes it's just it doesn't align with the pay grade of people like you and me. So that's a problem. You now have a detachment here. Now you have inequality coming into play because the maker of this idea, of this product, decided that they were going to think of their own fiscal benefit not necessarily those that he or she is trying to get to become a target market. Okay. Number four is socialism is saves the planet because it's based on a needs. We're not overproducing. We are just producing enough for people, and people don't have to be overworked because they are working based on their needs and their capabilities. I was in a store yesterday, and I go to the stores, occasionally. I don't really like the store, but they have occasional sales. And every time I go in there, I look at how their inventory is. They have a massive inventory, and I think that's why they always have these sales, because I feel like they're overproducing more products, and which kind of means that they have to, of course, get rid of it at some point. But I was in the store, and I was thinking of how every time I come in there and I see it, I see the over inventory, and I see how that I question, like, why is this necessary? Like, what is the point of you overproducing so much, whereas your stores are overfilled, and now you have to have a sale to push it out because you need to get it out. So, in socialism, it's not about that. It's not about greed. It's not about just getting stuff on the shelves. It's about what is it that people need. So there's more strategic planning in socialism, whereas capitalism is let's just put everything on the shelf. Let's just make a whole bunch of stuff and put it on put on the shelf, and eventually it will disappear. People will buy it. That's their mentality. Number five, under socialism, there is economic rights and social rights. So, whereas education is free, healthcare is free, what we know as rights, will not have to fight for it. Like in capitalism, we have to fight. We're always fighting for an increase in our wages. Well, everything that is called a right needs you to fight to get it. Whereas in socialism, it is well defined. You have a right to home, therefore you have a home. You have a right to education, therefore you have free education. So in socialism, it's more, again, more strategic, it's more humane, it's based on our needs, and so forth. And number six, we will be setting a new stage for human history. Socialism is already in the fabric of our society. It has been existing alongside capitalism in the same way communism has. But if we focus on socialism, then we would be making a choice, basically, in the same way we've made a choice that capitalism is the most viable, therefore we're pushing it. Well, we can make that same choice in socialism and say, okay, capitalism has ran its course. Now we need to look at what socialism can do for us. So these are the six reasons why socialism is better than capitalism, according to liberationschool.org. Again, it's an older article, was written in 2014, but I saw it, and I thought it was pretty good how they laid it out and how they're explaining the differences, because we do have to look at the differences in capitalism, socialism, and communism, and to get a better understanding of the history of those isms, and to make better decisions about them. We need to know what our options are. We do this every day in our lives. Like, what is available to me? What can I do to make myself better? What can I do to make my environment better? So why not use that same mindset toward systems? We need to look at it not just for our own personal lives, but rather also look at systems and how they are impacting us, and how we can get better at making them better, making those systems better, making those structures into more viable ideas, so that people are not suffering. I mean, we're at a point in history where you have to question why suffering is still around. Why do I have to see that homeless person who's old enough to be my great grandfather on the street with no access to a bathroom, no access to food? It should not be that. We should have mastered something differently, so that I should not have to look at a homeless person, or you should not have to fear you should not have to think of homelessness if you lose your job or if you lose your pension, what have you. So it's a completely different mindset shift if we were to choose the system that actually works for the benefit of us. So this is why I wanted to, just kind of go through the list of what they said, and kind of just, put into your mind that we have to constantly work to better humanity. The whole purpose of us being here is to better ourselves and one another. So we can't get stuck in ideas which are not benefiting us. Thank you for coming to the page. I hope to see you again.